So this video was talking about Jesus Christ as the most masculine person in the history of humanity. It was a long video, but I'm just going to explain it really quick. It explains that he was a person with values, with ideals, with aspirations that were well established. He was a very wise person and lived under his own conclusions all the time. He was never a coward and took the correct decision, even if it was the most difficult one to take. And if you ask me, for me, all those things are a combination of what a man is supposed to be. This is the definition of masculinity. And after watching this video, it got me thinking a lot. I watched it like 2-3 times. And I was thinking, do we live under those values anymore? Are we even half of what that is? And unfortunately, I thought the answer was no for the majority of the people, including myself. It just started teaching me these ideas that if I applied even half of them, it could make me a better person. And not just for men, for women too, applying those principles. And masculinity has changed so much, like in the last 50, 40, 30, 20, even 10 years. It was completely different. And I'm just gonna talk about 4 points of why I think masculinity is unfortunately going downwards instead of either maintaining the same level or going up. So the first one is pornography. Pornography is something that it's damaging a lot of the young people's mind. And I was doing a little research on that. So pornography, it's something that it's starting to become, it's a marketing tool, and there's a lot of people that are obsessed with it because it generates billions and billions of dollars. I think it generates more money than the National Football League, the NBA, and then Major League Baseball all combined together. But even worse, what it does to your brain neurologically, I don't know how to pronounce the word, it's pretty crazy because young people, that's how they're getting their sexual education. They're getting pleasure by having two people having sex instead of them having the pleasure themselves, which is pretty crazy. And it's something that, it's a problem that is not talked a lot. And it's something that it's damaging not only their minds and their teenage years, but it gets transferred once they're adults and once they have an actual relationship with a person. And it's something that needs to be attacked and tackled because it's damaging masculinity in its essence and the way people think on that. And then the second one is technology. Technology, especially the last 10 years, has been great in a lot of sense. It has helped push the world forward, but it has also stopped young people to fully encourage and increase their masculinity. For example, Uber Eats. Before, I'm talking about thousands of years ago, our ancestors, how were they supposed to get food? They had to go and hunt. They had to go and provide because they were the providers. They had to go and hunt, kill a bear, kill a horse, whatever they needed, and bring the food. Nowadays, you just get out your phone, boom, 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 order something on Uber Eats, it gets delivered in your house. And believe it or not, that taught a lot of leadership, that taught a lot of initiative, and you were a man on a mission. And now it's just simple as, like I said, ordering on your phone. And then the other one is dating too. I mean, social dating apps are great, but even if you go, not even 10 years ago, maybe like 6 years ago, it wasn't that popular, the dating apps, Tinder, Bumble, and I myself fall onto that too. Before, if you like a girl, you had to go and approach that girl. And there was a high probability, unless you were Brad Pitt, that you were gonna get striked on. But you have to get the guts, and that builds confidence, and that builds a masculinity that you don't have nowadays. Now on your phone, you just either swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, that's it. So I think those are some of the issues on technology. There's many more, but I think those are the two most important ones. And then the third one is not having masculine male figures, because it's something that transcends decades. I was reading a really good book. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guys, and it's syndrome about masculinity, because after World War II, a lot of the people started migrating from farms to cities. And before, when people used to live in farms, the kids will grow up with their parents, and they will grow thinking on the masculinity values. And nowadays, when they move into the cities, it was a little more different, because the parents were usually working a corporate job, and the kids were growing under the influence of a feminine, of their mother, which is not bad, but at the same time, a boy needs a man to become a man. And they started losing that. They just started going from generation to generation to generation. And a lack of male masculine figure is something that I think it's crucial for young men to become more connected to their masculine side. And then the last one, the fourth one, is physically weaker. I was looking at a statistic back from 1970 that men used to bench press 220 pounds, and now they bench press 180 pounds. And I think it's really important, the physical strength, because one job of a man, of masculinity, is to be a protector. You have to provide a family, you have to protect the family around you. And being physically well is an essential factor on that. So in conclusion, I think masculinity has been something that's been on decline. And I think one way that it could change that is by connecting yourself to philosophy, connecting yourself to reading all these great minds that taught us what masculinity used to be back in the days. In one book that I started reading not long ago, which I have it right here, it's called The Way of the Superior Man. I don't know if you guys have ever read this book. It's an amazing book that teaches us a lot about connecting yourself to your spiritual side, to your emotional side, and as a consequence, being a better man. And I think if more people read this book and apply half of the concepts there, it will strongly change the future of what masculinity is. Thank you.